The hate and jealousy directed at Caitlin Clark is just flat out dumb. What she's accomplished for women's basketball has been absolutely monumental. Where does all the Caitlin Clark hate come from? While we can't get inside anyone's head, we can draw our own conclusions from what we hear and see. And from where we're sitting, it sure seems like petty, next-level jealousy. Audiences have been tuning in to see Clark's stunning shooting displays and pinpoint passes in record numbers. But like everything else in life, there are always haters out there who can't stand seeing other people's success. So why are some high-profile past and present WNBA stars tearing her down at every turn instead of celebrating how she's elevated women's basketball to heights never before seen? The 2024 NCAA Women's National Championship game featuring Caitlin Clark and Iowa versus powerhouse South Carolina drew an all-time record television audience of nearly 19 million viewers. The previous ratings record of 12.3 million viewers was set a mere 2 days earlier when Clark's Iowa squad defeated the 2023 national champions LSU, featuring Clark nemesis Angel Reese. It was the most important weekend in women's college basketball history. Even so, there are a number of VIPs in the women's basketball world that are still not satisfied. Let's have a look at Caitlin Clark and her detractors and explore the burning question: why all the hate for a transcendent generational talent? Jay Williams of Duke fame said he's unwilling to say that Caitlin Clark is great yet without winning a college championship. During an ESPN broadcast, he said, "I hear people talking about GOATs. For me, I'm like, okay, you want to be a GOAT? Fine. There's levels of greatness. You gotta win championships to be GOATs. Let's slow down." He added, "I've seen Diana Taurasi. I've seen Breanna Stewart. Championships. That's how we measure greatness overall." Jay Williams is missing the point here. He's conflating being on great teams with being a great player. He doesn't think Caitlin Clark can be considered great just yet because she hasn't been on a championship-winning team. He's entitled to his opinion even if he leaves out some important facts. What he doesn't seem to think needs to be mentioned is the talent level of the teammates that make up a great team. Then again, Jay Williams, while supremely talented in his Duke days, was part of a team that featured 7 McDonald's High School All-Americans and 6 future NBA players. He was surrounded by high-level talent just like the former UConn stars he mentioned. Compare that to Clark's supporting cast. None of the teammates who played alongside Clark over the past 4 seasons entered college as 5-star recruits, and only a few cracked the top 100 recruiting rankings. She's only had one teammate, center Monica Zinano, get drafted by a WNBA team. Zinano was drafted by the LA Sparks in the 3rd round of the 2023 draft, but was cut before the season even started. In discussing great teams, Jay Williams mentioned Breanna Stewart. Stewart had perhaps the greatest college career of all time, winning 4 championships in 4 years while at UConn. She's also won 2 WNBA championships and 2 MVP awards. Her resume speaks for itself. But Stewart shares Jay Williams' opinion and told Nicole Auerbach during an appearance on College Sports on SiriusXM she doesn't think Clark can be considered an all-time great because she doesn't have a national championship to her name. When Auerbach asked if she needed to win it all, Stewart plainly stated, "Yeah, she does. I think so. You're gonna look 10 years back and you're gonna see all the records that she's broken, points and stuff like that. But anybody knows your goal when you play college basketball is to win a national championship, so you need one." Again, just like Jay Williams, Stewart conveniently leaves out the fact that she played alongside 12. That's right, I said 12 teammates that would go on to play in the WNBA. Maybe it's a UConn thing, because it seemed like every day a different UConn alum had a lot to say about Clark. Rebecca Lobo stuck to the script, stating on ESPN's Get Up that although she believes Caitlin Clark is the best offensive player she's seen in 30 years of playing and covering women's basketball, she cannot be in the greatest of all-time conversation without having won multiple college championships. According to Lobo, when you look at the history of the game, Candace Parker won 2 championships at Tennessee, Diana Taurasi won 3 championships at UConn, Breanna Stewart won 4 championships. Caitlin is an incredible player. She's done more in terms of bringing attention and eyeballs to the women's game than any other player we've seen. That's a mere fact. But when you want to talk about the GOAT conversation and you add championships to the mix of it, you have to understand the history of the game. Again, while mixing in a few compliments, Lobo is essentially making the argument for great players who had great teams while punting on the "is she the greatest player" question. Add Diana Taurasi to the list of UConn legends who cannot see anything beyond Storrs, Connecticut. Taurasi and fellow UConn great Sue Bird were doing a simulcast during the Final Four, where they'd watch the games the same way Eli and Peyton Manning do during the NFL season. When Bird asked Taurasi who would you take first in the WNBA draft, Caitlin Clark or Paige Bueckers, a visibly annoyed Taurasi said, "I'm taking Paige. Next question." Buchers and Clark were widely considered to be the best two players in women's college basketball this season. While Buchers is the better defensive player and not exactly a slouch on offense, to dismiss Clark with the next question line reeks of UConn homerism. Clark led the nation in scoring and assists while averaging nearly 8 rebounds from the point guard position. Buchers was outstanding in her own right, but Clark carried one of the nation's heaviest offensive burdens with unparalleled efficiency, producing the nation's best offense. The UConn alums are a proud bunch, and they have every right to be. And while some of them have taken shots at Caitlin Clark, they are far from alone. Other WNBA legends have taken aim at Clark, and in some instances gave embarrassing takes that were anything but hot. Cheryl Swoops is a prime example. Back in February, Swoops spoke to Gilbert Arenas on his Gil's Arena podcast. She mistakenly told Arenas that Clark took 5 college seasons to break Kelsey Plum's NCAA scoring record, and that she takes about 40 shots a game.
If Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have. Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Swoops took heat for her comments because Clark did not play 5 college basketball seasons, she played 4, and she took 22.7 shots per game this season, which is nowhere near about 40. To her credit, Swoops later apologized and spoke to Clark to clear the air. But the most bizarre and disappointing epic failure of a hot take came during Final Four weekend from the previous women's college scoring record holder and Naismith Hall of Famer Lynette Woodard. Speaking at the Women's Basketball Coaches Association convention, Woodard condescendingly said the following: "My record was hidden from everyone for 43 years. I'll just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. I don't think my record has been broken because you can't duplicate what you're not duplicating. Unless you come with a men's basketball and a 2-point shot, hey, you know." While it's understandable to get annoyed if you feel like your achievements from a different era have seemingly gone underappreciated or even ignored, the bitterness in expressing frustration was not a good look and was counterproductive to helping advance women's basketball. Woodard did clarify her comments a day later, releasing a statement on social media that said, "Caitlin holds the scoring record. A lot has changed on and off the court, which makes it difficult to compare statistical accomplishments from different eras. Each is a snapshot in time." Luckily for Caitlin Clark, not every big name in basketball hates on her. LeBron James has been outspoken in his support for Clark and the women's game. After South Carolina completed their outstanding undefeated season with a convincing 87-75 win over Clark's Iowa squad in the national championship game, LeBron doubled down on his appreciation for Clark. He tweeted out to his 52.8 million followers, "If you don't rock with Caitlin Clark's game, you're just a flat-out hater. Stay far away from them people, please." Another NBA legend who's a big fan is Steph Curry. Clark often gets compared to Curry since she too basically has in-the-gym shooting range. Curry praised Clark's shot-making ability as well as her skills as a playmaker in an interview on CBS Mornings back in February. Curry said, "I've been watching from afar and understanding just how much of a power she is out there on the court. The cool part is the way that she plays and her range, and the level of difficulty on her shots is obviously a very close comparison to the way that I play. But I think it almost robs her of the rest of her game because she's such a good floor general. She's racking up close to triple-doubles every night. Her shooting ability is her superpower, but the rest of her game is as polished as that, so this is must-see TV." Love her or hate her, Caitlin Clark's impact on women's basketball is beginning to take a similar trajectory as Tiger Woods' meteoric rise through the golf universe in the late 1990s. Her popularity and success will be like how a rising tide lifts all ships, as the saying goes. Unprecedented things are already taking shape. All of the WNBA's top 10 most expensive regular season games this year belong to the Indiana Fever, who drafted Caitlin Clark with the #1 overall draft pick last week. Indiana's July 14 game against the Minnesota Lynx is the most expensive WNBA game on the secondary market, according to data from ticket site Game Time, with a median ticket price of $615. And late this week, word got out that Clark is nearing a lucrative endorsement deal with Nike. She's expected to receive a signature Nike shoe as well, those sources said, as part of a deal worth well over $20 million plus potential bonuses. She already has endorsement deals with Gatorade, State Farm, and Panini. All of these developments will help lead the way to better pay and endorsements for other women in college and professional basketball. The haters have Caitlin Clark all wrong. They should be celebrating her at every chance instead of trying to tear her down.